All right, well, here's the plow that I had originally envisioned as a snow plow. I followed the plans of Rich in Minnesota from his video about the do-it-yourself $50 trailer hitch snow plow for the Honda Element. So I may have gotten some of the angles a little wrong, and cutting some of these, they're kind of complex angles that I'm not used to doing. I'm sure somebody more experienced with woodworking than me, even though I've got some experience, but not that kind of stuff. My dad could probably have done it pretty easily, but at any rate, so here I've got a drop hitch. It's the 1 1/4 to the 2 inch, because I only have a class 1 receiver hitch on my Element. It was a hidden hitch, the Hidden Hitch brand. And so anyway, my first attempt, I thought that I could, if I beefed this up a little bit, reinforced it some, I might be able to push dirt with it. Well, you can't see it here so well, but right over here in front of the plow was a much higher pile of dirt. It had to be 5 or 6 feet high. My boys and I this weekend just came out and went at it with shovels, hand shovels, and a little cart over there, and moved a whole bunch of dirt down the line, because the sewer contractor that hooked up my house to the sewer before I bought it, I had the septic system inspected, and it failed. So the contractor they hired was a bargain basement kind of contractor, because he did not finish the job. And even though it was in the middle of the winter, there were people next to my parents who had their sewer hookup done at the same time, and that was a different contractor. They did not leave a big pile of dirt, and they did not leave a giant ravine in their side yard. You can't really see it, but the dirt you see off into the distance, that roughly follows the sewer line. So at any rate, since we cut it down, I had initially tried it. I got it together one night, and it was dark out by that point, so I only pushed a little bit of dirt around. And then the next day I got home from work and tried pushing some more, and I was actually doing pretty well. I was just doing a little bit, just the edge of the plow, because I didn't want anything to break. But unfortunately, I got a little too ambitious, and you can see in here, I had a Class 8 bolt, 5/8 inch bolt. It broke right through the wood, and let's see, and it actually bent it. So you can see here it's bent. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and try and hook up the hitch, or hook up the plow to my car, and see if I can move the rest of this dirt without this thing breaking. So wish me luck. All right, so here we have it. I just hooked it up, and it's kind of fun, not really fun, getting it lined up with the receiver hitch properly to get the holes lined up to put the pin through. So I used my little persuader. It's not quite big enough to be Mjolnir, so I call it Mini Mjolnir. Anyway, so I got it hooked up, car's running, pin is in, and we're going to see if we can move some of this dirt. So let's do this. All right, so here we go. Let's do this. All right, here we go. Mostly right now it's just riding on top. Let me see if I can get a little bit. Just do the edge. Alright, let's try some more of that. Oh, not too bad. Let's have another go at it. All right, another little go at it. I think the key thing with this is go slow and do little bits at a time. You get too ambitious, then you start breaking stuff. Now, when I was building this thing, I tried to make everything such that the parts would always be in compression, not under tension. But I think the problem that I ran into was because I don't have side supports, you know, it's just going into the hitch. There's nothing else that's going back. If I had a beefier receiver hitch, that hung lower down than the one I've got, then I might have been able to put more supports, like you can see the diagonal supports I have here. I was thinking about doing that, but the hidden hitch is just too far up and it's too hard to, I don't know, if I attach something to it vertically, I think it would snap the bolts right off. So anyway, we're moving a little bit of dirt anyway, which is better than doing it by hand. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my video. And again, thanks, Rich in Minnesota. That's RICHINMN. That's his YouTube channel. That's where I got the inspiration from. So thanks again. Bye. All right, well, here we are again with my plow inspired by Rich in Minnesota. It seemed like it wasn't really scooping up enough dirt. You know, I wouldn't get too much at one time. I mean, again, that could potentially break it, but I figured, wait a minute. When I first moved in here, it was February, so the ground was frozen, and I used a few of these Home Depot buckets with, I think they're 5 foot long, 2x4 pieces, and about 80 pounds of Quikrete. So I had this one left over lying around, and I figured, wait a minute, if I put that on here, maybe that'll give it enough extra weight that it will either push the dirt or I can pull it, because it seems like it's doing both. But I just used like a deck screw to attach it over here, and I thought I was going to have to use tie downs to strap this bucket on, but then I'm like, wait a minute, I can use a couple of woods, you know, a couple of those screws there. Drill pilot holes first. Again, that's not under any kind of stress. It just has to sit there and provide weight. So let's hop back in, start up the old E, which, by the way, it's 2007 Element. I bought it when it was brand new, March of 07, and I am currently in a countdown. I'm less than 400 miles away from hitting 200,000 miles with this car. Mostly all I did was regular oil changes and other maintenance. I've done probably 99% of all my oil changes. I don't think I ever had the dealer do it. And actually, when I got it home, that's the first thing I did was change the oil and started using Mobil 1. Every now and again, I couldn't get Mobil 1, so I'd use like whatever other synthetic oil I could get. But mostly it's been Mobil 1, and the engine, it just runs. So if you want a car that'll last, these suckers will. They're just about indestructible. I just put, I don't know, this has got to be my 6th or 7th, I don't know, 5th or 6th set of tires I put on here. And I just had to have the rear control arms replaced because they didn't have any more wiggle room, and their rear was quite badly out of alignment, and it would have chewed up these tires. So, all right, well, let's hop back in, start it up, and see what we can do. All right, so here we are at it again. Seems like it's definitely pulling more dirt than it was pushing. So maybe we'll have to turn it around again and try it that way. We'll have better luck. Alright, just had to turn the car around. And we're going to try and drag some of this dirt. See how we make out. Well, something. Alright, let's take up on here and see if we can take a nice little bite. Without taking out my fats. Alright. Well, that actually seems to be doing a halfway decent job. Alright, put the camera down and try some more. See how I can do. I just backed it up over again, and as you can see, it looks like I'm pulling quite a bit more dirt than I was, so I think the weight is definitely helping. So, let's see. Let's inch forward a little bit more. Again, I think the key with this, one of the keys with this, is to just really take it slow and steady. Because otherwise things will break, because pressure treated plywood is not really quite up to the task. It can do a lot, but it can also break very easily. That's why one of these days I've got to get a welder and learn how to weld, because if I made something like this out of metal, I think I'd be done already. Alright, let's try and, I'm going to put the camera down because it's hard to do this holding the camera and driving back and forward. So let me give it a go and see how much more dirt we can pull. Okay, that one bucket seemed to make a big difference. So I had another one kicking around that I hadn't used. So I just cut the piece of wood off and moved the other one forward. Again, just to use some like deck screws to secure that. On the front, I did it with a piece of wood. Drilled through that, and then also drilled through the bucket. This one, I just drilled through the bucket, threw a couple of screws in there too. So I don't think that's gonna move. I hope. Anyway, let's try this again. All right, here we go. Yeah, that looks like substantially more dirt this time. Very nice. Hopefully this will start filling in this ravine I got in the side yard. That's what I'm talking about. Well, I'm quite pleased with that. I'm going to have to stop recording now because my arm is on the seat back and it's cutting my circulation off. So I'll see how much more I can get done.